Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, can a man's purpose be a soulmate? Well, I've got an email here from a guy who's a retired Air Force pilot, and he basically spent the last decade or so of his life in a very unhappy, for the most part loveless, sexless type of marriage, whereas he says he became her beta male butler, if you will. But about a year ago, he met a woman who totally knocked his socks off, and he started studying my work, and he feels like, wow, this is potentially my soulmate. And obviously it stirred some things in him that he hasn't felt maybe ever in his life, or not very often. He wants to know, what about making my purpose as a man to find and create a soulmate style relationship? Is that a good way to go through life? Because as he admits, he's always been great when it came to work and career and been totally alpha, but in his romantic life, he's always taken a back seat. So with that said, I got a quote that I wrote, and then we'll go through his email. And the quote says, "You attract a soulmate by the person that you become. Who you become is what you will draw to you. Learning to trust and follow your heart, curiosity, and intuition attunes your vibration and experiences with what you want to attract. You then literally draw them to you like a magnet, and they show up when you are totally ready, willing, able, and open to them at the perfect time. They are long in coming. Synchronistic events and signposts appear more frequently, and those similar to your ideal start to show up ever more frequently the closer the right one that matches your intention is to manifesting in your reality. You'll simply know when you look into each other's eyes for the first time. It's on." So with that said, let's go through his email. "Dear Coach, first the admin. My warmest thank you for coming as my teacher now that I, the student, am ready." Well, as the old saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I get emails all the time. People are like, "I stumbled across your videos by accident." I don't believe in accidents. I believe that everything that happens in life, every person you meet, is there to help give you an experience from a soul perspective, so you can experience and become whatever you intended before you came into this life. I don't believe in accidents, and I don't believe in luck at all. And if you've been following me for a while, there's been so many synchronicities and things that have lined up in my life perfectly. It's, how could you not see the magic of the universe working in your life? "I got an Audible membership through you, and I purchased your book. So for those of you that haven't got the audio version of my book, you can actually get it for free by going to audible.com and doing a free trial. And with the free trial, they usually, at least right now is the time of me doing this video, if you do the free trial, they'll give you 2 free audiobooks as part of your trial membership. And then after 30 days, they charge you a monthly fee. And it's a lot. If you're an avid reader and you're really into growth and self-help and learning and feeding your mind like you should be, it's a great way. Because, I mean, some of those books are $30, $40, the really long ones. And you get 1 credit a month. I guess it's like $15, basically. So you can get a much more expensive book for basically $15. Plus, anything that you buy outside of your 1 credit per month plan, you only pay 70%, so you get a 30% discount. So it's a really great plan. If you're going to be an avid listener, I highly encourage you to go to Audible and get my book free as your first free download. It's a great way to do it, and therefore you get no risk. "I got an Audible membership through you and purchased your book, and I'm reading it for the 3rd time with at least 7 more to go. I'm also reading from your book list, The Superior Man." And so people, I see these comments, but if you want to know like what other books I recommend that you should read, if you go to my website and you click the products tab, you can go down in the Amazon product listings. There's probably 30, 40 different books and products that I recommend, self-help related, that will help you. He says, "The Superior Man," which is another great book. "Your videos are fucking inspiring, or as we say in the military, shit hot." Thank you for your service, by the way. He says, my video coaching question. I am a 25-year veteran who flew in the first strike package to Baghdad the first night of Desert Storm. Well, I appreciate your service. I had 3 of my best friends from high school were all in the 2nd Marine Division, and guys like you were, I firmly believe, are why they came back pretty much unscathed from that. So thank you very much. And it looked like, with the picture he sent, he was flying an F-4. So I'm thinking maybe an F-4 Wild Weasel or something like that, possibly. Pretty cool, pretty badass. He says, I have a shit ton of missions in the air and on the ground in Iraq, pictures included. He definitely included the pictures. I have always had high confidence in myself at my job. I love fast vehicles, weapons, and dealing with bad guys, so I had no problem transitioning to police work once I got out of the Air Force. Well, thanks for your continued service. That's a tough line of work. Got lots of friends and family in law enforcement. My love relationship, however, as you can already guess, is where I showed myself as needy and insecure. Even though I have more kids than you can count on one hand, dude, you've been busy. You got some strong-ass fucking swimmers. I came to realize that I had settled in marriage. The past 10 plus years have steadily progressed downward in misery. No bueno. Almost a year ago, I met a lady who knocked my socks off. She showed me what true love and finding a soulmate is and revived my masculine core. But one caveat about soulmates, I don't believe that there's just one soulmate. I believe that there's lots of soulmates potentially. And when you meet that person, it could be a best friend as well, or it could be a lover. And you just know, like when you meet your best friend, you just kind of click. You have a lot of similar goals, similar values, similar interests, maybe a similar sense of humor, and it's just easy to be with each other. The same thing comes when it comes to being with the right woman. You just click. It's just easy to be with them, especially if you have gone out on enough dates with enough different women. You recognize that some women are really easy and fun to be with, and others, it's just trying to keep the conversation going is like fucking pulling teeth. And it's much more fun to be with somebody who's easy going and easy to be with, who doesn't get easily butthurt or offended, kind of has a live and let live type of existence. And anybody that just totally gets sent into orbit at the littlest fucking thing, bringing drama and toxicity into your life, those are the kind of people that you definitely would hit the delete key as fast as possible. I filed for divorce 6 months ago. My wife wants me back in the box as the beta male I used to be with her. Controllable, sexless, and fearful. Well, that sounds like a really emotionally compelling reason why to go back to her. No, thank you. And besides, your kids need to see at least dad happy. At least they could get to see what it's like for dad to be happy and in love. That would give them something to emulate. Because the reality is most people say, well, we're staying in it for the kids, and yet they can't fucking stand each other. They're not affectionate. And so the kids grow up, and guess what? They go and marry somebody that's exactly the same kind of relationship. How is that a victory? How is that a win? All you did is perpetuate another generation of dysfunctional, unhappy, loveless, sexless relationships. It's very, very possible I may lose this new love due to decades of neediness imprinted on my core. It is hard to overcome that, but the more you know my book backwards and forwards, that's why I say read it 10 to 15 times, because all those different stories that I put in there, things I've experienced, things where I did the right thing, lots of things where I did the wrong thing, you start to get an understanding of the principles and the fundamentals and why they work, and you're not so much focused on trying to use a technique or a strategy as you are just reacting instinctively and intuitively to however the woman is showing up in your life. But if you don't know the material because you haven't read it 10 to 15 times, oftentimes you can come off as being robotic or trying to use techniques and just not natural, and women are going to be able to pick up on that. So make it easy on yourself. Read it or listen to it 10 to 15 times if you got the audio. And so the more you do things right and the more you see the patterns of behavior I talked about in my book show up in your interactions with this woman and women in general, that's going to build your confidence because you have a lot of history doing things wrong, and that led to some very painful experiences, loveless, sexless, unhappy, unfulfilling type of relationship. That's a lot of pain. Remember, people do more to avoid pain than they'll do to gain pleasure. So being the old way is very painful, but being the new way is easy, it's effortless, it feels natural. I mean, the way you feel in your career and the fact you've always been successful in your career, that vibe, that energy, when you see the patterns over and over that I talk about in the book, that's what's going to give you confidence. Because what's in the book is, for most people, it's a complete opposite in a lot of cases of the way they've always thought and the way they've always shown up. And so when you start doing things that maybe feel a little uncomfortable at first, but are different than anything you've ever done, and you start to see the same patterns over and over, and not only can you see it in your own interactions with women, but you can look at other men and women and watch them interact and see those same fundamental principles at work. That's going to build your confidence. That's going to make you more sure of yourself and more sure of your actions, which are going to have a positive impact on your soulmate, your current soulmate, if you will. But even if you fuck it up, I always say there's another bus every 15 minutes. You, coach, are helping me, as David Data writes, to understand my masculine core is mission, purpose, and direction in life. But my question is this: is it wrong to desire a soulmate as an emotionally compelling life purpose? Okay, so you get your soulmate, then what? Who are you as a man? What are you about? What is your mission and what is your purpose? By being a really successful, happy law enforcement officer, that puts you in the right vibe, the right mindset, the right frame of mind. So when you encounter a potential soulmate, she can tell that you're lit up on the inside. You're happy. You're excited about your life. You're excited about where you're going. And you look at her and look into her eyes with confidence and certainty instead of timidity. Night and day difference. It's about becoming what you want to attract. And if you focus on making the woman the center of your life, because what happens, guys make finding a girl the center of their lives. They meet a girl, and after 6 months or a year or so, once that wears off, they're faced with the fact that they're not happy. That maybe they don't have an emotionally compelling mission or purpose in life. So if you're not happy and you're content in your mission and your purpose in life, if you don't get up every day feeling like you're following your true calling, you're not going to be able to sustain your happiness in a relationship with somebody else because you weren't happy to begin with when you got into the relationship. So the important thing is to do the work on yourself first so you can start to make your life and your lifestyle the way you want it to be, in a way that pleases you, because that makes you an attractive human being. And now, instead of somebody looking for another person to complete you, you're now a happy, whole, complete, awesome dude looking to share his life with a happy, awesome, complete dudette, if you will. He says, I found in a soulmate a deep joy and the ability to move mountains that I could never have before. Well, I talk about that in the book. When you really meet somebody and you fall in love and they're in love with you and you know how to keep them in love with you, as a man, it's like any feelings of inadequacy that you may have had, maybe any previous women that you walked down the street with and you were looking at other women and thinking, wow, she's a lot hotter than the girl that I'm with. What does that guy have? I'm better looking than that guy. Those things don't happen anymore. When you're with somebody that's a 10 out of 10 and your ideal qualities of what somebody that knocks your socks off is, you don't feel like you're lacking anything. You don't feel like you're somehow less than. You feel happy. You feel love. And what's cool is you want to share that with everybody. You want everybody else to be as happy as you are. And when you're around other people, you and your girl are around other people, they see that there's just something different. There's a magic that the two of you share that most people don't get to see very often. And just your presence changes other people. And as a man, when you feel awesome, you feel sexy, you feel attractive, and you have a woman that knocks your socks off on your arm, you feel like you can do anything. And so we tend to take on bigger responsibilities, bigger challenges. We may start a business, we may make a lateral move in our career, we may sell a business and go start a different business, we may change careers. It's really amazing as you improve other areas of your life, areas of your life that you once thought, hey, this is pretty good, and then you make everything else around your life spectacular, and that one thing that used to be pretty good now doesn't look so hot. And so there's always another level to grow to. There's always another level of evolution that you can go through. You can always become better. You can always become more. And by having somebody that you feel is a true teammate and a true equal, you both push each other to become even better, even more than you were. He says, a priest said at a funeral for a friend last week that the only thing you take with you is love. Isn't this valid as something that matters most, or is it just neediness in disguise? Well, again, you focus on your mission and your purpose in life and becoming the kind of person that you want to attract. Become the kind of awesome guy who would easily attract a soulmate who would appreciate you. In other words, you've got to become a person of value first, and everything else falls into place. Because as a man, if you don't feel like you're handling your purpose and your mission in life, a woman's going to sense that. She's going to sense that you're not playing full out in life. Versus when you're really happy, you're really excited, and she says, well, what do you do for a living? Oh, and your eyes light up, and you tell her with your passion and your creativity and your heart, and she feels that you're totally aligned with your mission and your calling. Versus some guy, she says, what do you do for a living? Well, I got a bullshit job right now, but it pays the bills. Hopefully something else will come along down the road. I mean, who do you think she's going to be more excited to talk to and meet? So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book whatever coaching option works for you. And I will talk to you soon.